But essentially, it stands as a document that shows clearly that they're lying about the safety of GMOs, that GMOs are unsafe, they're linked to thousands of sick, sterile, and dead livestock, thousands of toxic and allergic reactions in humans, damage to virtually every organ and every system studied, and they should be removed from our food supply.
That's powerful information. Jeffrey Smith, thank you so much for this time. We're going to be back with our next clip on what would you do if you're president or prime minister on the GMO topic.
Great.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Wellness Heroes TV, out. Tell me when you're ready, Vic. Okay, we're back with wellnessheroes.tv, Truth in Wellness. Now, we said we were going to grant Jeffrey Smith the authority of being president and prime minister at the same time in Canada and the US, and he's the head of the UN, if there is such a thing. He's now the king of the UN. So with those three things, and we're anointing him right now, Jeffrey, you are thus anointed by wellnessheroes.tv and our followers, and we would like to hear what you would do to do the best, do the world well, and when it comes to GMO, so we can have healthier food to our people in this planet.
Well, I would first eliminate all genetically modified organisms from growing outdoors. I'd put them back in the laboratory under very secure conditions. I would ban the current crops that are genetically modified because I believe there's overwhelming evidence that they're unsafe. I would then also undeploy the apparatus of the US and Canadian governments, which are now being used to try and push GMOs into other countries around the world. Like the WikiLeaks that are coming out right now shows that the US is using countries and contacts in Romania, in Italy, in Spain, in France, in the Vatican to try and push the pro-GMO agenda. I would like to see that reversed so that they actually expose the situation. I would force companies like Monsanto to make public all of their research data and grant kind of amnesty to everyone who works in the corporation to provide information about the truth, so they won't be sued by Monsanto for going against their non-disclosure.
A quick question. We commented on a previous clip about the Michael Clayton movie starring George Clooney.
Right.
Now, there are some parallels to that in Monsanto. Now, it amazes me that that this can go on so blatant and be brought to light through a movie like Michael Clayton. And how do we get the average person to buy into this? How do we get the message and compete with all these massive, big media companies that we're fighting against?
Well, I think wherever we tell the truth about GMOs and describe the corruption at the corporate level and at the government level, people get it, and they want to avoid eating GMOs. And so we explain to people about the health dangers. We explain to people how to avoid GMOs. We have a non-GMO shopping guide at non-GMOshoppingguide.com. And we tell people that just a small percentage of consumers avoiding brands that use GM ingredients could create a tipping point of consumer rejection. And so we don't need most of Americans and Canadians to avoid GMOs, just a small percentage. And that'll kick it out of the food supply in North America, as has already been done for the same reason in Europe.
And we talk at Wellness Heroes about the voting dollars and the power of the voting dollars that we have as Canadians and Americans and around the world. And you're saying that's already happening in Europe. So to accelerate that, let's let our listeners know all your websites, if you can let them know now.
Well, if you go to responsibletechnology.org, then you can sign up to be part of the Non-GMO Tipping Point Network and get together with others on a local or national basis to help with the outreach. You can sign up for a free electronic newsletter. You can even sign up to become trained on how to speak on GMOs, which we do online and in person.
Fantastic.
So that's responsibletechnology.org. There's also free online videos and audios and plenty of articles. Then non-GMOshoppingguide.com helps people choose healthier non-GMO products. It lists thousands of products. And then at seedsofdeception.com, we have books and DVDs and CDs offered for sale.
Fantastic. All right. So any final thoughts on what you would do as the king of the UN and with all the power in the world to fight GMO? I think you've laid it out well. Anything final message to your average person that might not understand this? What's your message to them?
Well, there's two things. First of all, with all of that power, I would try to expose the truth associated with GMOs and require money to be used to do basic safety research on what's already been deployed by the biotech industry, etc. I'd also change the current curriculum in the schools which have been skewed and biased by the biotech industry, which promotes their lies about the myths that GMOs were based upon. And in terms of basic message to the public, I would say that this is an urgent situation. The genes already released into the environment can cross-pollinate. They'll outlast the effects of global warming and nuclear waste. So it's urgent. The biotech industry plans to replace all seeds. That's their agenda, to replace nature. So we have to protect ourselves, the environment, and all future generations. And we can do so by creating a tipping point, just helping protect ourselves and the ones that we love.
Is the USA the only government in the world that's issued patents on seeds?
Oh no. Patents on seeds go all over because the corporations have developed that kind of protocols through the WTO and other places. So patenting is now commonplace.
Did it start in the USA?
I'm not sure where, well, the patenting of life did in a Supreme Court decision that was okay to patent a bacterium. But that really opened the floodgates to patenting life, and now thousands of genes inside our own bodies are already patented.
Final comment. So if you were a farmer trying to fight this, and I've heard that the wind can blow these Monsanto seeds into your farm, and all of a sudden you're expected to pay a royalty on your crop and also buy the magic fertilizer that will match your crop. What's your message to the farmers? What the heck? I heard of a farmer trying to fight this. Various farmers fighting this. What's your message to them, and what's a good website for them to go do?
Well, a lot of farmers have been getting information skewed by the biotech industry, which tends to own the major channels of information that go to farmers. The seed dealers, the agricultural chemical dealers, the land-grant universities in the United States, the agricultural extension agents, the farm journals and the radios. But there's a lot of information now about holistic, appropriate methods that actually yield more, have higher income for farmers, and better sustainability in the long run. And so I would say find the experts in that sustainable type of agriculture and who are doing fundamentally better things and making higher income. And rather than trying to navigate among the lies that are being perpetuated by the biotech industry, and also by some of the farm organizations that they largely support, because the farm organizations that they support are not allowed to tell the truth about GMOs.
So in the future, I'm going to ask for your help from yourself and from some others to set up a website. I don't know what's up there to help the farmers get more aligned on this. And would you be interested in giving us some tips on what that should look like?
Well, there are websites out there. There's a Farmer to Farmer campaign. There's GE Free, Cal GE Free from California, dedicated to rice farmers. There's different groups out there. I don't have one that comes to mind, but there's a number of things. There's agricultural information, there's economic information, and there's health information. Farmers know a lot. They're all economists. They need to know every aspect about why non-GMO is a better, healthier choice.
Excellent. So it would be, as a social media student and enthusiast, I mean, it would be great to aggregate that information with one well-known domain, and we'll talk about that amongst our team, and hopefully you have some good comments for us on your opinions, because you are, it appears, the leading authority on GMO in terms of publications in the world. Would that be correct, Jeffrey?
Well, I talk about it a lot.
Well, yeah, so, and we'll cut it off here. Thanks so much for listening to wellnessheroes.tv with Jeffrey Smith. Truth and wellness is what we're about, and really, I think that's what Jeffrey stands for. Would that be safe to say?
Well, it's exposing it so other people can gain the wellness by not hurting themselves through the current GMOs, yes.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Thanks. We have time for a
Tell me a little bit about MIPSO and then
yeah.
ask him the question.
Ready?
Okay. Yes, we're ready.
Okay, it's Robert Dunlop here. I'm the founder of MIPSO, which is Mental Health Peer Support Organization. Currently, we're working out of St. Joe's Health Center in Toronto, and we're looking to expand in other locations in Toronto. That's our website, mipso.org, and that's our slogan. Basically, people around the world helping each other get stronger through education and peer support. And I'm here with Jeffrey Smith today, famous author of numerous books on the GMO hot topic. Jeffrey, what would be your message to the mental health community as it pertains to GMO?
I would say it's important to eliminate genetically modified foods from your diet, but also to try and focus on unprocessed foods in their natural state. There was a high school, a continuation high school in Appleton, Wisconsin, where they switched overnight from feeding the normal junk food school meals to the kids to healthy, freshly prepared foods. And the behavior of the kids changed dramatically. The amount of meds taken by the kids reduced dramatically.
And these are pharmaceutical meds?
Pharmaceutical meds. And it turns out that the school was described as out of control and chaotic before the change and smooth and coherent after the change. And they did studies actually in the classroom where they took mice and fed them junk food or healthy food, and within a couple of days the junk food eating mice freaked out, became cannibals, killed and ate another one. It was pretty much of a gory mess. And
wow.
and it took them several weeks to get back to healthy behavior when they switched to healthy diet. Now, when I looked at the Appleton, Wisconsin school changes, it turns out they had removed, quite accidentally, almost all sources of genetically modified foods when they switched to healthy, fresh prepared food. And so we don't know how much the GMO component is involved, but we do have some very slight indications from animal feeding studies that the behavior of certain rodents was more agitated and hyperactive when eating the GMOs compared to the non-GM. It's preliminary, it's not reliable, but it should be followed up. But I would say people don't need to wait for that follow-up because there's so many other health dangers associated with genetically modified foods. It would be safer for anyone to reduce that in their diet and ideally avoid it completely.
Well, that's amazing. We're just so grateful that you can reach out to the community with some suggestions. And what websites can people go to learn more about Jeffrey Smith and your work?
Well, at responsibletechnology.org, you can learn more about the dangers. There's a documentary online called Hidden Dangers in Kids' Meals, which has an excerpt about the Appleton, Wisconsin school. And then if you want to avoid GMOs, at non-GMOshoppingguide.com, we have thousands of products that are non-GMO that you can identify and then purchase in your local supermarket.
Fantastic. And as far as mental health peer support organization, it's free to join. If you have any friends or loved ones, come on down and join, and just go to mipso.org. And we're honored to have this time with Jeffrey today at the Total Health Show here in Toronto, kicking off our first interview from Ipso. Thank you very much, Jeffrey.
Thank you.